Every time. Good morning, members of the MAG Regional Council Executive Committee. This special meeting is now called to order. For those around the table, please turn on your microphone when speaking. For those participating in the room via Zoom, please state your name when making a comment or asking a question. The MAG public comment process allows members of the public to comment on items on today's agenda or on items that fall under MAG's jurisdiction. Were there any comment cards for this meeting at all?
Chair, we have not received comment cards, but we have received an online comment.
Okay.
Too.
If you'd like to comment on today's meeting, please fill out a card. If you parked in the garage, parking validators are available on the information table in the hallway. If you purchased a transit ticket to come to the meeting, please see staff for a ticket. Hearing assisted devices are available from MAG staff. We will now begin the meeting with a roll call of all members. Sapna?
Thank you, Chair and members of the Executive Committee. I will go down the list of members in alphabetical order. Please unmute and indicate if you are present. Mayor Gallego. Mayor Giles.
Present.
Mayor Hartke.
Here.
Thank you. Mayor Hermosillo.
Present.
Thank you. Mayor Osborne. Mayor Peterson.
Present.
Thank you. And our chair is present. Chair, we have quorum.
Thank you for that. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you, Nathan. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Sapna, do you mind reading that comment?
Thank you, Chair. We have received two comments from the same person, Mr. Rexford Ames of Sun City West. The first comment is, what election? Fraud is fraud. Never in all my 80 years have I ever seen the Secretary of State put herself in the governor's seat with due process. The second comment, also from Mr. Rexford Ames of Sun City West. Never in all my years have I ever seen a sitting Secretary of State place herself by moving her seat from the Secretary of State into governor. Totalitarian state has indeed arrived. Thank you, lawyers. You have managed to violate the state constitution as well as the United States Constitution. Well done, legal thieves. Chair, this is the end of comments.
Thank you for that. Ed, item number 4, please.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a request for an executive session for consideration of engagement of legal counsel. If you vote to go into that, Mr. Kaufman will give you advice on that. But
Can I get a motion to go into executive session, please? Second. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the room say aye. Aye. Sapna, are you online?
Yes, thank you, Chair, members of the Executive Committee. I will go down the list of members participating virtually. Please unmute and indicate how you vote. Mayor Hermosillo.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are now entering executive session. The committee members, relevant MAG staff, and MAG legal counsel will be placed in a Zoom, blah, 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 blah. We will reconvene after the executive session. Sorry.
That was good.
Sorry.
Hello, this is Kate Gallego. Is there a good link to executive session?
I'm trying to get somebody to move you over right now because I don't have those permissions.
is this is what the Senate president's going to put on the board, take it or leave it. We don't know that, I mean, people talk big. Not sure it's there. And we committed to Mr. Cook that by the end of the day today, we'd get him a response on this. But that's what's swirling around. So if you had any questions in here that you wanted to ask John.
Well, let's reconvene regular executive session. So we're back in executive session.
No.
Executive committee, sorry, executive committee. We're back in executive committee. We don't need to do roll call, do we?
No.
Okay, not to go back in. Legislative update, John?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the executive committee. Just quickly, there are two bills still alive, the Livingston bill and the Cook bill. We have continued to hear, particularly from the Senate side, that the Livingston bill has no viability to move forward. Certainly, there's some legislative hurdles associated with it, including getting it through House rules, with some fairly direct comments made yesterday in the stakeholder meeting that bill would not be able to move forward. We have been an active participant in the stakeholder discussions with Mr. Cook. As Ed had mentioned, those stakeholder discussions have largely been relatively positive in terms of trying to find consensus and ground. However, last Thursday, we received a updated proposal that reflects what the Senate majority is willing to accept. That proposal was further refined with draft legislation that was handed out at yesterday's stakeholder meeting. Plainly put, that legislation would not allow for implementation of the plan. It skews the freeway number much higher than what we have, as well as the transit number much lower. Equally concerning, there's a number of provisions that would introduce legislative review into program management and implementation. It would restrict the eligibility of certain project types. For instance, extra transportation projects would no longer be eligible for the sales tax funding. And there's a host of very troubling provisions related to bus service that not just from an implementation standpoint are likely infeasible, but certainly don't reflect I think all the work that's been done over the last 20 years and even the state auditor's report, which found that our system is more efficient than our peers.
It also would create a joint legislative committee that would be a place where all changes would have to go. So no longer is the regional council and TPC the final word. It's a legislative committee. Joint legislative committee.
Because micromanaging always works.
Absolutely.
Any comments? John?
I think that's just kind of, but this is the discussion we had with the governor yesterday. I think we've done, kudos to everyone who's worked so hard, and given that this great effort. But I think at some point we've done all that we can do. And it's either, I think making additional concessions to this demand from the Senate is just creating a plan that, future mags are going to have to try to rehabilitate. Yeah. So I think we don't take a bad deal. And we, Dana and the governor's office, need to powwow and figure out what do we want her to say when she sits down, when it's crunch time, with the legislative leaders, and it's either going to happen or not. And I think, but thank you to everyone who's gotten it to this point.
And Mayor, Chairman, Mayor, I think we've heard also is there is an effort by legislators and their non-legislative friends, I guess, to go individually city by city to try to convince you how that is a good deal for each individual city. And, that's also not a
I
regional
can
plan.
share that I've heard the same thing from other mayors who have been approached by legislators and been told, hey, this is everything that you need. So you don't need to hang with MAG.
I think what helps is that the intergovs have been part of this sausage making process for years. And I think that the mayors trust their intergovs and rely on their advice, and they trust MAG. I haven't had, I said this to Ed yesterday, how many mayors have contacted you about the emails? And he said one, and that was mayor, I won't say who the mayor was, but there was a mayor who just is an FYI, but I kind of think we're going to face this. This isn't a surprise. So Kevin?
Yeah, I think, again, in my other life, I do a lot of marriage counseling, and it's almost like we have two parties approaching a divorce and then wanting to blame the other person for why things aren't working. And the legislators are certainly working hard to blame. I've heard it that, well, John just keeps saying that it won't work and he isn't providing data, where I know that's not the case. Or our MAG just keeps digging in the heels and say it's the plan and nothing else. And I do suggest that again, sometimes I wonder, are we just not able to read what the other party is saying? Party not meaning Republican or Democrat, but opposing forces here. And is there a new way to communicate what we've been saying all along in different ways, which, you know, I'm always want to challenge myself to do that. So at least we can try that exercise. But I still sense that nobody wants this to die. I mean, even my Republican legislator friends, I can't imagine whether it's Jake Hoffman or Warren Peterson really wanting to not have the freeway go into Queen Creek to fuel the efforts of a LG battery company. And what's going to be needed are TSMC. And I challenged Senator Mesnard yesterday and said, you've worked your entire life to create a tax code that attracts high-tech businesses, but at the same time now you want to end it on the other end because there's no infrastructure.
Hey, Kevin, I'm sorry. We've got regional council. So
Anyway, that's my challenge.
we're going to have this update. We're going to have this update in regional council too. Can I get a motion to adjourn executive committee? I have a motion from Mayor Peterson, a second from Mayor Hartke. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Mayor Hermosillo,
Aye.
we'll see you in regional.
And
Eric,
Mayor Gallego.
Mayor Gallego, we're going to see you in regional.
Aye.
We'll see- Eric,
Noted.
we'll see you in regional council, sir.